I want to take you through an exercise to get you familiar with curved line drawing. Now, I've got a page here with guidelines down the middle, and I'm going to take a circle and come to the center point of reference here, and shift an option key. I'm going to form a circle. Now you can see that it's a black stroke and no fill circle, but I'm going to do one thing further to it as it's selected. I'm going to make it a guideline like these straight guidelines are. By command key and the 5 key, you see it turns it into a guideline, and my guides are locked with a check on the guidelines. And if you hit right key it, if you don't see that, then go to view, down to guides, and make sure your lock guides is checked. If it's checked, just let go of it so you don't uncheck it and make them open again. Alright, so now I have a straight line and a curved line guide, and this guide is going to act as my template as I draw. Now I'm going to draw with a black stroke, no fill. And I'm going to take the drawing tool and I'm going to combine it with straight line drawing and curved line drawing. Now let's just review straight line. If I go click and release and click and release, I get a straight line. If I continue with the shape and going wherever I want to go, I get it's still a line until I come back to the original anchor point, and that little 0 shows up. When I click that, it now becomes a closed shape. Now that's straight line drawing. Curved line drawing comes in like this. If I go click, I don't go click and release and click and release and click and release now. Now what I do is I click and release and click and hold. Hold on the mouse and pull down, and you see that handle I've got a hold of there. You can make a curved line drawing. It's not a circle, it's more of a cone. It's called a cosine in geometry and mathematics, but it's a cone, not a circle. Now if I want to continue with that, I have to click on the last anchor point and release it, and then come out and then begin to pull it around. Now notice what I'm trying to do is avoid any kind of a kink. Let me show you what that is, where the line comes up here and it separates here and there's no kink. Think of your hose on the lawn in the summertime, and if you get a kink in it, it bends strangely and it won't let water through. That's a smooth flow. If I select that again, you can see at the anchor point it runs smoothly through there. And that's what you're trying to accomplish when you are using a curved line drawing. Okay, so let's do this now. I'm going to do straight line with a pen tool. Now the pen tool operates right on the point of that pen. That's the hot point of the cursor. Click and release, and then click and release. I've got a straight line going down this guideline. Now I'm going to make a curved line go around half this circle and then end up with a straight line here. To use the cone-shaped drawing, you can't make that circle in one move. It's going to take 3 moves. I'm going to have to come to here a third of the way, and then come another third of the way, and then come to this third of the way. If I wanted to do a complete circle, I'd have to have 6 moves to do that. So I'm going to click on the last anchor point to reconnect my line and come about a third of the way up and click and hold, and now I get a straight line, but as I pull it, I'm going to match it. Now that circle acts as a template, and I'm going to pull until I match that circle dotted line underneath with my real line. And when I let go, when I'm happy with my curve there, then I've got the first section of my curved line. I need to click again, click and release in the last anchor point, not in these handles out here, but the anchor point, the square anchor point, to reconnect my line and come another third of the way here, click and hold it. Now see, I've got a straight line happening there. Now I'm going to pull it down and rearrange it. Now you can pull it up and you can pull it down, but you want to pull it so that it most accurately matches the dotted line underneath in that guide circle. And when you get that, release it again. Then come back and click on the last anchor point to reconnect your line and come to this last station on this half circle. Click and hold. You get a straight line. Pull it until you match that circle. Let go. Now I've got the click on the last anchor point to reconnect and just come over here and again click and release a short straight line drawing. And what I have left now then is this line, and it's still a line because it's not connected, but I use the template here to follow around to get my half circle working for me. So that's a template drawing. Now sometimes you have a template that's pretty obvious like this circle. Other times you might have a flower or a pretty common shape that you can make a guideline out of, or bring it in as a layer of a picture that you can trace this thing around. So we're tracing the template here, this circular line. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to set this aside just to remind us what we've been working on. And I'll put it down here in the bottom. And I'm going to use this circle thing now to create a cloud, a fluffy cloud that will be using this circle here as a baseline, not necessarily to actually draw the line on. Now, a cloud is going to have cone-shaped points, thick ones and thin ones and thick ones and thin ones. And so what I want you to do is to go to the pen tool, and still using this circle, that's our guide circle, I'm going to start with the first cone, and I'm going to start right here on the outside line of this shape, and I'm going to click and release, and I'm going to come over here, kind of a wide stance, click and hold, and I'm going to make my first little bump there of this cloud, and it's going to be a wide stance and a pretty tall bump. Then I'm going to go back and click on the last anchor point to reconnect and come a short stance and make a shorter bump. And then I'm going to click on the last anchor point and make a wider stance and pull a taller bump. Now the bump can go pointing in any directions, kind of point it tangentially out from the circle. Now I'm going to continue that as a series of short bases and short bumps, and then the next one in the sequence is a wider base and a wider bump. And I'm just going to go around the circle. They don't have to be totally symmetrical, but that's a short one. Here's a wide one. But I do want them to follow the start and stop of the circle. And you have a short bump with a narrow base, and then a wider bump with a bigger arc. Now that's a big one. Here comes a little one, and I got a big one there. So let's see. I'm going to just force this through there. There's a short one, and here's a bigger one. Now I am getting a narrower stance here, but I'm just trying to even this out. Click on the last anchor point. There I'm back to the first anchor point. See that circle? It closes this shape and make a short bump. Now if your cloud looks like this one with, they don't all have to be the same. Clouds aren't exactly symmetrical anyway. But we started with wide, short, wide, short, wide, short, wide, short, wide, short. And if you want to go back and correct some of these things, you can like click on this arch here with with your white arrow with a plus on it. If you click on that, you get this anchor point. And that's a handle. There's the two anchor points. Here's a handle. And you can virtually realign this thing, maybe point it in a different direction. Or go to this one and point this one and just reset it a little bit and do what needs to be. I'm not going to worry about this, how it closes up together there, because this cloud can have any number of configurations. But when you get through, you're going to have something like this as a cloud. Now, I'm also going to say to my cloud, okay, I've used the circle, I've got that right, but my cloud is going to be a little more oval-like. So I'm going to select with my black arrow, I'm going to select my cloud, and there's the bounding box, and I'm going to shorten the bounding box up a little bit, maybe a little from the top and a little from the bottom, and I end up then with this cloud. Now I'm disregarding the template that I used there, but I have my cloud. Now if I take the cloud and select it and say, oh, let's go to the swatches, and I'm going to find this black and white gradient, linear gradient, and there's a black and white radial gradient. Let's take that radial one, and it comes in with a white spot, hot spot in the middle. I'm going to take my gradient tool and just click up here in the upper corner or the lower left, something like that. I want to get a cloud that's light on the top and dark on the bottom. That's kind of how rain clouds operate. I'm developing a rain cloud here. And my shape now, still has the black stroke. I'm going to select that and make it nothing. And so that here's my rain cloud that will feature in the next project that we're working on. But to review here, we've got the template here is made by creating a circle, then going Command 5, and that makes that circle a guideline. Of course, I centered it here in this central point of reference. And then I did my line to here, and the third of a way, third of a way, third of a way curved line drawing, and the straight line to finish it. Then I came back to the same circle and I started a big loop and a little loop and a big loop and a little loop and all the way around until I got the shape I was comfortable with, and then I flattened it a bit and then gave it this gradient color situation, and now I have my black rain cloud that I'm going to use in continuing the project here. So that's template drawing, and some reminders of what straight line drawing and curved line drawing works with the pen tool in Illustrator.